Hi, and welcome to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed, the no BS hustle-free podcast for business owners who outsource or provide outsourcing services. I'm your host, Rosie Shilo, virtual assistant advocate and owner of Virtually Yours, the virtual assistant network. Let's get started. Welcome to the first episode of the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. I'm so excited to be here today. My name is Rosie Shilo, and I will be guiding you through this series, which is all about outsourcing to grow your business. Now, today I wanted to touch on the basics of why you would use an Australian virtual assistant. This is the area that I sort of specialize in. This is, working with Australian VAs is, what I've focused on in the last 14 years. And the industry is full of amazing VAs who I know really, really well. And because I use them myself and I support so many other businesses who are using them as well, I get a lot of insight into, what the benefits are for utilizing Australian VAs if you're an Australian yourself. So most of my market is Australian based. I stick with what I know. I know the Australian business culture, and I find that the virtual assistant industry in Australia in particular is really, really exciting, and it's been growing and evolving over the last couple of years at much higher rate than it has prior. Okay, so now the first thing is, we all know virtual assistants are an amazing business resource to have, and we can't all afford one, unfortunately. But those of us who can, who have worked out a strategy to make sure that we understand and are getting our return on investment, are going to be really, really reaping the benefits of using a virtual assistant in their business. And this is really exciting. And I don't want you to confuse return on investment with thinking, okay, well, I know what my return is because I'm going to pay commission-based, for VA work. If they sign up people, they're going to be commission-based. It's not really how it works. They're not just, commission-based sales reps. It doesn't usually work that way. So you need to think about, your goals, your objectives, how they fit in, how they're going to support you to get to your, your end goal. So one of the best things about virtual assistants, and this is obviously, something that you're going to go, oh, well, duh, is that they are virtual. But that means that they can work anywhere. And that, is a good and bad thing. So you've got offshore, meaning out of Australia, so anywhere out of Australia. That can be UK, US, Canada, Philippines, India, anywhere like that, versus, VAs who are here in Australia. At the end of the day, they are all virtual. And so what I'll talk about today is what I've noticed with the industry in Australia and the trends and the type of people that are working as VAs, as opposed to what I've noticed offshore. Okay, so the first thing is most Australian VAs are business owners as well. Okay, so this is really, really important. And I personally love working with fellow business owners because they get the struggle. They get how you don't just rock up at work and everything's there for you. Work is there for you. You have to do the whole thing. You have to be the hunter and the gatherer and do the whole shebang. And so they've had their eyes open to that, to the reality of that, and not just the idea that someone who's running their own business, the boss, is, raking in the money and life is easy and owes everybody else a living, which is kind of, what a lot of employees tend to think if they haven't run their own business. And I know I've been there, and granted, I was a lot younger when I was employed, but, even the older people that I was working with seemed to have that kind of mindset where it was like, well, I'm here, I'm doing work for you, these are my rights, this is me, me. Because you're the boss, you have everything, and it's not hard for you. Whereas if the person that you're working with is a fellow business owner, they know that it actually is hard for you. You have to work to keep the ball rolling. If things are rolling well, it's because of processes and systems and ideas that you've implemented and put in place. And so kudos to you. So an Australian VA being self-employed is always looking at ways to grow their own business, and the benefit to you is that everything they learn to grow their business, they will help you with yours. They're always really forthcoming with advice and resources and referrals and that sort of thing. And that, that sort of stuff is above and beyond what you would normally hire a VA for. So that's really, really nice. The other thing is when you are trying to communicate in business, a virtual assistant has to step up. The communication skills need to be really, really good. They're missing, the body language a lot of the time, and they need to have great verbal, so phone skills, meeting skills, and writing skills to communicate not only with you, but with your clients if appropriate. And as we all know, English is hard, but Australian is harder. So unless you are, you've lived here for a certain number of years at least, having an idea about how to communicate in our extremely unique way is something that's really important when it comes to networking and connecting with your target market. Now, when I talk about this, I'm assuming also that your target market is here in Australia, or they respond to, they really like the Australianness about you. I hope that makes sense. So, the Australian factor is relevant to both parties. So when you've got someone who's communicating with stakeholders on your behalf, you need to be making sure that they are communicating, in your lingo and in your brand, in your voice. Okay, so that's really hard for non-Australians to do in our way. The other thing is Australian VAs are often connected to your stakeholders. So they might be connected to your target market or associates who you could be working with and collaborating with because they're building their own community. A really smart VA is obviously networking, and they have a strong community. I only work with VAs who have, a good community behind them, which is why I built Virtually Yours. I can easily see that the VAs that stay in Virtually Yours value a strong community and understand that with that support, they can offer their clients so much more. So when your Australian VA is out there doing their networking and growing their business, because it's not just all, there in front of them, they've got to do those hard yards, they're also seeing opportunities for you, potential partnerships, potential connections, potential threats, all that sort of thing, and they're able to feed that back to you. So they're, eyes and ears for you and your business. As an Australian business owner, also, they need to abide by the same laws as you, and that's really handy when things can go a little bit iffy because, we all know mistakes happen, whether it's your mistake, their mistake, or a third-party mistake. Anything can happen. Things, systems could fall apart or anything. And if they are not delivering, you want to be able to pursue it as well on a legal leg. So if they're in another country, often there's very little you can do to try and get any kind of recompense. Is that the word? I need another co-host here to help me with my vocabulary. To help you out when things have gone a little bit whereas if they're here, you've got the ombudsman, you've got consumer affairs, all that sort of thing, to back you up, and debt collectors to help you out. And it just makes life a lot easier when you consider as well, your business is your business, baby. We always talk about this, and having a virtual assistant is bearing your business undies and it's a little bit intimidating. When you're revealing that, your intellectual property, to another person, you want to know that they have to abide by the same laws that you do. Okay? The other thing is that Australians charge the same as what you do. So they're on the same currency. So you don't have to worry about fluctuations and changes in the exchange rate, which is something that I have found with certain products, software, and that sort of thing that I've had to subscribe to over the years, is I don't always know from month to month what it's actually going to cost me because of just that exchange. And that helps, if I know what my VA is charging me each month, or, for each project or whatever it might be, it helps me with my cash flow. So there's a lot of other reasons why I think personally Australian VAs rock, but I won't go into all of them today. I'm really, really keen to do podcasts that are short and sweet. Yes, they may ramble a tiny bit, but I'll try and keep them on track and keep them real and keep them helpful for you. The other thing I want to touch on today is that, with outsourcing, it's really, really important to think about why you want to outsource, and not to be outsourcing because everyone tells you that you should be. That it's not a good enough reason. I just don't want people to think that if others are saying the definition of success is you outsourcing, it's your definition of success is your own definition of success. And that's one of the messages that I will be communicating quite frequently, is that you don't have to listen to everybody else about what you should be doing in business. I want to provide you with some resources and some tools, but you need to make up your own mind about what's going to work for you, where you want to take your business, and who you want to bring along on that journey with you. Come and have a look at the Virtually Yours website when you get a chance. We've got a few articles on there about working with Aussie VAs, because as I said, they are the people that I work with the most closely. And if you need any support from any VAs, definitely go on there and submit a request for support, and we'll help you find someone to get your business going in the direction that you want, which is very exciting. So thank you so much for listening today. I hope you found that useful. Aussie VAs rock. That's it for today, and I'll see you in the next session. Have a great one. Bye.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Virtually Yours podcast, Outsourcing Mysteries Exposed. Between now and our next session, I know you're going to be hanging out to take some action on outsourcing in your business, so head on over to virtuallyyours.com.au and you can download some information there about the best ways to outsource for business growth. If you're a virtual assistant, make sure you join us. We have an amazing virtual assistant community at Virtually Yours, Aussie VAs connecting and helping each other grow. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you at the next podcast.